was she dangerous?
Because of the need for her to rehabilitate her image.
That made her dangerous?
That made her dangerous because of the connections that she was forging within the British press.
You and your brother both directly asked your dad not to marry Camilla.
Yes.
The courtroom was silent, the weight of the moment pressing down like a storm. Queen Camilla sat frozen, her face pale, her hands trembling.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed to rehabilitate her image.
Then, the judge's voice rang out. Sentenced to life in prison. Gasps echoed through the room as Camilla's composure shattered. Tears streamed down her face, her royal title meaningless in the face of justice. How did the Queen Consort end up here? What crime led to this shocking downfall? The truth behind this moment will leave you absolutely speechless. The secret affairs of Queen Camilla and King Charles. The corridors of Buckingham Palace hold secrets, whispered conversations, and silent rendezvous that history never documented. Behind the regal facade, a forbidden love story simmered, hidden from the prying eyes of the world. Queen Camilla, once just Camilla Parker Bowles, was never meant to be part of Charles's destiny. Before rekindling her romance with the future king, she was married to Andrew Parker Bowles, a man who once had ties to the royal family himself. But fate had other plans, and what happened behind closed doors is far more scandalous than anyone could have imagined. The story begins in the early 1970s, long before Charles wed the world's beloved Princess Diana. Camilla, with her effortless charm and undeniable pull over the young prince, was more than just a friend. Their chemistry was undeniable, their connection unbreakable, but the royal establishment had other ideas. Camilla, deemed unsuitable for the future king, was pushed aside, leading her to marry Andrew Parker Bowles. But did that stop her from secretly seeing Charles? The whispers suggest otherwise. According to palace insiders, secret letters were exchanged, letters so intimate, so dangerous, that they could have shattered the monarchy. The two lovers devised elaborate methods to remain in contact, using trusted confidants, and even disguising their meetings under the guise of casual social gatherings. Some claim that even as Charles prepared to marry Diana, his heart remained elsewhere. Could it be that Camilla, hidden in the shadows, never truly let go? What makes this tale even more chilling is the alleged late-night calls, the desperate visits to secluded country estates, and the cryptic messages passed through third parties. Sources say that Charles, even as a married man, would find ways to be near Camilla, their love thriving in the secrecy of dimly lit hallways and hushed exchanges. But how did they manage to keep this secret affair hidden from the world? Some believe the royal family itself played a role in keeping the truth buried. Camilla's presence was downplayed, her importance minimized, yet behind the scenes she was always there. Could it be that those in power turned a blind eye to avoid scandal? Or was there an elaborate effort to protect the image of a prince bound to a woman he never truly loved? And then, of course, there's Diana, the princess who, in a heart-wrenching interview, confirmed what many suspected. There were 3 of us in this marriage. Was she speaking of fleeting moments? Or did she know something far darker? Something the palace never wanted to be revealed? Even now, as Queen Camilla stands beside King Charles, the past lingers like a ghost in the halls of the monarchy. The truth may never be fully known, but one thing remains certain. Their affair was never just a rumor. It was a love that defied tradition, shattered royal expectations, and perhaps changed the course of history itself. But what secrets still linger from Charles and Camilla's forbidden affair? And did Diana know more than she revealed? Stay tuned. The unbearable loss and the pain of 2 princes. The night Princess Diana died, the world mourned. But for her 2 sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, the loss was unimaginable. When news of Diana's death reached them, they were devastated. Prince William later described the moment as feeling like an earthquake that just runs through the house and your life. In an instant, their mother was gone, taken in a tragic crash that left lingering questions and a deep sense of sorrow. Their grief was not just profound, it was a weight that would shape their lives forever. William, just 15, was thrust into a role no child should ever have to bear. He had to be the strong one, the future king, the composed figure the public expected him to be. But inside, the devastation was unbearable. His mother, his protector, his confidant, was gone. He had no choice but to walk behind her coffin, the weight of a nation's sorrow pressing down on him. He would later admit that he barely remembered that day, his mind numb from grief. For Harry, only 12 at the time, the loss was even more confusing. How could his mother, the woman who had kissed him goodnight, who had laughed with him, who had promised to always be there, simply disappear? He recalled feeling a mix of anger and emptiness, unable to comprehend why the world was watching his pain as if it were a spectacle. Years later, he would admit that he buried his grief for decades, masking it behind rebellion, rage, and reckless choices. Diana had been their light, their warmth in a world of royal coldness. And when she was gone, so was their sense of safety. The world moved on, but for William and Harry, the pain never truly left. It lingered, shaping them, defining them, forever. Queen Camilla's alleged scandals, and the investigation that could destroy the monarchy. The walls of Buckingham Palace have witnessed centuries of secrets, betrayals, and quiet power struggles. But nothing could have prepared the world for the storm that now threatens to tear the royal family apart. At the center of it all, Queen Camilla. Once the woman who stood in the shadows of a forbidden romance, she now finds herself entangled in a far greater scandal, one that could see her stripped of her crown, disgraced before the world, and possibly facing a fate no modern queen has ever endured. Rumors of a high-profile investigation within the palace first began as whispers in elite circles, but those whispers have now turned into a deafening roar. It started with financial discrepancies, misappropriation of royal funds, questionable transfers, and secret accounts linked to unnamed individuals. At first, speculation pointed fingers at various officials within the royal household, but soon, all roads seemed to lead back to one name: Camilla. How did she become entangled in such allegations? Some say it was mere coincidence, that she was simply caught in the crossfire of a larger power struggle. Others, however, believe something far darker is at play. Could it be that Queen Camilla, long seen as an outsider by staunch royalists, had built her own network of influence within the palace? And if so, just how deep did that influence run? As investigators comb through records, tracing hidden transactions and shadowy dealings, even more sinister claims have surfaced. The inquiry has reportedly expanded beyond financial misconduct, delving into whispered accusations of coercion, cover-ups, and alleged manipulations within palace affairs. A source close to the investigation has hinted at heinous acts being uncovered, though what that truly means remains shrouded in secrecy. And yet, the most chilling aspect of this unfolding scandal is the growing theory that Camilla's rise to power was not as organic as the world was led to believe. Was there a carefully orchestrated plan behind the scenes to cement her place as queen? Was Diana's tragic fate a mere coincidence, or does it hold a connection to a much larger narrative? The speculation is relentless, and the palace's silence only fuels the fire. For now, King Charles remains publicly supportive of his wife, standing by her side with an air of unwavering loyalty. But behind closed doors, is he beginning to question everything? Some insiders claim he has grown increasingly distressed, consumed by late-night meetings and whispered conversations with advisors. Could it be that even he has started to doubt the woman who once held his heart in secrecy? As the investigation reaches its peak, one terrifying possibility looms. If Camilla is found guilty, not only could she lose her crown, but she could also face the unthinkable, criminal charges that could lead to sentencing. A queen behind bars? The thought alone is enough to send shockwaves through the British monarchy. No royal consort in modern history has faced such a fate, and the idea of Queen Camilla being stripped of her title, dragged through a public trial, and ultimately condemned is almost too surreal to imagine. But as history has shown, the monarchy is built on tradition and survival above all else. If Camilla is deemed a liability, will the royal institution quietly orchestrate her downfall to protect its own image? Will she be exiled, forced into silence while the world is led to believe she stepped away voluntarily? Or will she fight back, exposing secrets the monarchy would rather keep buried? For now, the world watches and waits. The palace remains locked in a cold, calculated silence. But behind the grandeur of its gates, battle lines are being drawn. Whether Camilla emerges victorious or falls from grace, one thing is certain: Buckingham Palace will never be the same again. But what if Queen Camilla's fate is already sealed? Will she fight back or be quietly erased? Stay tuned. The investigation deepens. Diana's death, Prince Harry's explosive claims, and the shadowy international ties. As the investigation into the Buckingham Palace scandal expands, a shocking new development has sent the monarchy into full-blown crisis mode. What initially began as an inquiry into financial misconduct and power struggles within the palace has now spiraled into something far more sinister. Something that reaches back decades and touches upon one of the greatest tragedies in royal history: the untimely death of Princess Diana. For years, conspiracy theories have surrounded Diana's fatal car crash in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris on August 31, 1997. Was it truly an accident, or was there something more nefarious at play? Prince Harry himself has long suggested that his mother's fate was not as clear-cut as the official reports claimed. Now, with investigators digging deeper into hidden royal connections and secret financial dealings, the possibility of a deeper, more orchestrated cover-up has emerged. And at the heart of it, high-profile links to Spain, a covert French operation, and Queen Camilla's unsettling proximity to it all. The Spanish connection is one of the most intriguing and chilling threads in this tangled web of deception. A well-placed source claims that certain aristocratic families in Spain, long known to have ties to the British monarchy, played a mysterious role in managing sensitive information related to Diana's final days. Were they merely confidants of the crown, or did they serve a darker purpose, ensuring that certain secrets remained buried? Some have even speculated that funds funneled through obscure Spanish accounts were used to finance undisclosed royal operations that could be tied to controlling narratives surrounding Diana's death. And then there's France. The country where Diana's life was cut short has remained at the center of countless theories. But now, whispers of a clandestine cover-up by French intelligence agencies have surfaced. Allegations suggest that certain French operatives may have been complicit in either protecting key figures involved in Diana's final moments or obscuring details that could have pointed to foul play. Did they act alone? Or were they operating under pressure from a higher power? Perhaps even Buckingham Palace itself. Prince Harry's claims only add fuel to this already blazing fire. His repeated insistence that there are things the royal family has never revealed, his belief that history could repeat itself, and his open distrust of the institution he was born into now seem eerily prescient. What did he uncover that made him walk away? What information does he hold that could change the world's perception of his mother's death, and possibly Queen Camilla's role in the grand scheme of royal survival? For Camilla, This turn of events is nothing short of catastrophic. Already facing mounting pressure from the ongoing investigation, she now finds herself at the center of a narrative she has fought her entire life to escape. The shadow of Diana. If there is even a sliver of truth to these allegations, if any traceable link is found between her, the Spanish aristocracy, and the French intelligence operations, her reign as queen could be over in an instant. The palace remains tight-lipped, refusing to confirm or deny the growing speculation. But behind the gilded walls of Buckingham Palace, the tension is palpable. Has the inquiry uncovered something that even the monarchy cannot control? Or is this merely another chapter in the long, complicated history of royal intrigue, one that will ultimately be buried like so many secrets before it? One thing is certain: the world is watching. The cracks in the royal facade have begun to show, and whether or not Queen Camilla emerges unscathed, the truth, whatever it may be, has never been closer to the surface. A royal scandal beyond imagination. The deeper this investigation plunges into the shadows of Buckingham Palace, the more it seems that nothing is as it appears. What started as an inquiry into financial irregularities and internal power struggles has now expanded into something far more sinister, something that even the most seasoned investigators cannot fully comprehend. Because the real question no one dares to ask is this: is Queen Camilla merely a player in this game, or has she been the target of a larger, more elaborate scheme? It would be easy to believe that Camilla, once the woman in the shadows of Charles's life, had orchestrated her rise with precision, using her influence to secure power within the monarchy. But what if that wasn't the case at all? What if this entire scandal was carefully constructed piece by piece to bring her down? Could there be forces within the palace, perhaps even within the royal family itself, that have been waiting for the right moment to strike? Then, there's the resurfacing of Diana's tragic fate. Was it merely an unfortunate coincidence that just as Camilla's position was being questioned, the inquiry turned its gaze back to that fateful night in Paris? Or is there something far more deliberate at play? The inclusion of high-profile Spanish aristocrats and a suspected French intelligence cover-up suggests a web of secrecy stretching far beyond British soil. But why now? Why, after decades of speculation, has Diana's name suddenly become entangled in this latest royal crisis? Some believe the timing is too precise to ignore. Others suspect that this is not about Camilla at all, but rather about what she might know. Could it be that someone, somewhere, fears what she might reveal? If so, what secrets could possibly be buried so deep that even a queen is expendable in order to keep them hidden? There are also whispers, dangerous ones, about an elite circle within the monarchy that operates independently of the royal family itself, a hidden hand that has existed for generations, ensuring that no individual ever becomes more powerful than the institution itself. Could it be that Camilla, long seen as an outsider, was never truly accepted within these inner ranks? And if that's the case, was her downfall inevitable from the very beginning? Even King Charles's behavior is raising questions. Once unwavering in his loyalty to Camilla, he has now become distant, uncertain. Is it the weight of the allegations against her, or has he himself been warned to step back? Could he too be at risk if he refuses to comply with whatever unseen forces are pulling the strings behind this scandal? If Camilla is truly guilty, the consequences will be catastrophic. Stripped of her title, her reputation destroyed, and possibly even facing criminal charges, she will be the first modern royal to fall in such spectacular fashion. But if she's innocent, then the implications are even more chilling. Because it would mean that something, or someone, far more powerful than the monarchy itself is orchestrating events from the shadows. The question is no longer whether Queen Camilla will survive this scandal. The question is, who really controls the fate of the royal family? And how far will they go to ensure that the truth never sees the light of day? Keep watching. The final judgment. Queen Camilla's fate sealed. The trial of Queen Camilla has captivated the world, but beneath the spectacle of legal proceedings, there is an unsettling undercurrent. Whispers of a verdict that may already be decided. Forces at play far beyond the reach of the courtroom. And the possibility that this is not merely about justice, but something far more insidious. What if this trial was never about right or wrong, but about power? And if she is found guilty, will that verdict be the result of an impartial legal process? Or has the Queen Consort been marked for destruction long before this scandal even began? The monarchy has weathered centuries of betrayals, upheavals, and secrets, always emerging intact. But this time, the institution itself is under scrutiny. If Camilla is convicted, will she be the only one to fall? Or will this verdict drag others into the abyss with her? There are whispers that the royal family has long been fractured behind closed doors, that this trial is merely the final act of a power struggle that has raged within the palace for years. Has Camilla been sacrificed to protect something or someone far more powerful? Her fate, should she be found guilty, is a question with no clear answer. Would she be imprisoned like a common criminal? The idea seems unfathomable, yet some legal experts insist that the courts cannot afford to appear lenient, lest they be accused of favoring the elite. A public downfall of this scale could be the monarchy's greatest humiliation, a stain that no amount of carefully crafted PR could erase. But would they allow that to happen? Would the monarchy risk the sight of a former queen being led away in handcuffs? Or is there already a plan in place to ensure that she disappears before it ever comes to that? There is growing speculation that a guilty verdict would not lead to prison, but to something far more secretive, a quiet exile, a carefully staged retreat from public life, never to be seen again. Some believe that Camilla's fate has already been sealed in backroom negotiations, that once the trial ends, she will simply vanish into the shadows, living out her days in forced silence on a remote estate, hidden from the public eye. But would she accept that? Or would she retaliate in the only way left to her, by exposing everything she knows? And what if that is precisely what the royal family fears? Camilla has spent decades inside the institution, closer to King Charles than anyone. What secrets has she been privy to? What whispers has she heard in Buckingham Palace corridors? What documents has she seen? What conversations has she been part of that were never meant to reach the outside world? If she falls, does she bring others down with her? Some claim she has evidence, letters, recordings, documents that could shatter the carefully constructed facade of the royal family. Could she reveal new information about the circumstances surrounding Princess Diana's tragic death? Would she unearth financial dealings that could expose corruption at the highest levels? And if she holds such secrets, would she ever be allowed to speak about them? Because if Camilla has knowledge that could threaten not just the monarchy, but the very institutions that protect it, then her fate may not be hers to decide. There are darker theories still. What if her silence is not just requested, but enforced? It is no secret that powerful figures throughout history have disappeared under mysterious circumstances when they became too much of a liability. Would Camilla, if she is found guilty, if she is truly deemed a danger, suffer the same fate? An unexpected illness? An unfortunate accident? A sudden and tragic demise? Could this trial not be about uncovering the truth, but about ensuring it is buried forever? Even King Charles himself is acting strangely. His silence throughout the proceedings has not gone unnoticed. Has he been warned? Has he been told that his loyalty to Camilla must end here? or he will face consequences of his own. There are those who believe that if she is convicted, Charles will be given no choice but to abandon her, perhaps even abdicate under the guise of health issues. Could this be the beginning of the end for his reign, with Prince William positioned to take the throne under the promise of a fresh start, one that wipes Camilla from history entirely? And then there is the most unsettling question of all. Was this the plan all along? Was Camilla set up to fall? Had this been orchestrated long before the trial even began, a carefully played move in a game far beyond the comprehension of the public? The monarchy is no stranger to eliminating threats. If Camilla had become one, is her downfall not only inevitable, but necessary for the survival of the institution? If she is found guilty, the world will watch her fall. But the real story may never be told. Because if the past has proven anything, it is that the British monarchy always survives, even if it means erasing those who stand in its way. And perhaps that is the greatest scandal of all. But what do you think is really at stake here? Could Camilla's downfall be part of a larger scheme to protect the monarchy's deepest secrets? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.